Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sheff United Way match preview for our Wednesday evening visit to Old Trafford, where we face the ever-diminishing Manchester United. This is, of course, a battle of two teams who were pretty embarrassed in their own ways over the weekend, and that makes a difference because it's not just Sheffield United fans who are left feeling let down, a little bit ashamed, and just completely and utterly dirty that we keep giving them our money and asking them to do it to us again. Now, Sheffield United, the game that I'm referencing, we played weren't we quite good last season? Derby against Burnley, and once again, in front of our own fans, Sheffield United absolutely crumbled. We utilised that resilience that Sheffield United have got. Oh, no, wait, no, they've not got any of that at all. What we actually saw from Sheffield United was that they completely gave up and just let Burnley walk over us in the second half. I thought we'd actually started quite well. The keeper chucks two in his own net, and then the players completely and utterly give up against the team that were one place above us, 19th in the division, and almost certainly getting relegated alongside us. It's a great time to be a Blade. But Manchester United, I referenced it myself there. They had their own little bit of embarrassment themselves. They were 3 goals up with 25 minutes left against a team from the Championship. And they only managed to squeak through that game on penalties because VAR was once again on the side of the Big Six. A toenail offside, saving them from further embarrassment of completely and utterly blowing a 3-goal lead and being knocked out of the FA Cup to Championship opposition. Yeah, it's going great for both of us. I'm sure all fans watching this are in a fantastic mood ahead of this game in the midweek. So, what does Blade's team news look like? Now, Jayden Bogle was back against Burnley, and I think he's one of the few players who actually came out of that game with some credit. And while, we know we've got long-term injuries, we've heard rumours that they're back on the grass. I'm very much not expecting to see anybody else really looking to return in this game. I don't think there's going to be any shock names that jump out to us on the team sheet for this one. Mason Holgate wasn't there at the weekend against Burnley. He missed that game for reasons, but I don't believe that reason was a long-term injury. I don't think he's going to be out, and I expect him to be available and playing in this game. Jackie Longthrow, now this is a man who, if you'd have told me 12 months ago that he was going to be the most important player in Sheffield United's defence, I would have laughed in your face. But he has by far and away been the best defender we've had this season. We are missing him in this team right now because at the very least he would have some backbone, some fight, and he would put a little bit of effort in. It's not the only one we're missing. Obviously, players like Egan will make a huge difference. But for the team that we've had available recently, compared to the one that capitulated against Burnley, I very much am looking forward to Jackie Longthrow being back. But I do think he'll miss this game. I would expect him to be playing against Newcastle at the weekend. But maybe this one being midweek comes a little bit too soon. So, here on screen, you will see my predicted 11. Now, I have done this in FanHub, and if you would like to become part of our FanHub community, please follow the link in our description, or you can use the code which is up on the screen right now, 𝗍-YC5. That's 𝗍-YC5. If you follow that, you'll be part of the Sheff United Way community. You'll be able to see the predictions of other players. Now, as you can see, let's get the worst bits out of the way with what this team selection looks like. I am predicting that 𝗍𝗿𝗍𝗂 will continue in goal for this game. And no, I do not like it. Even a little bit, I don't like it any more than anybody out there watching this enjoys it. But this is not about scapegoating. Let's look at some stats just to try and make a point here that this isn't that I don't like him. It's just that so far he has completely let us down in a Sheffield United shirt. Since joining Sheffield United, 𝗍𝗿𝗍𝗂 has played 8 games in the Premier League. He has conceded 25 goals, so an average of more than 3 goals per game. Now, I looked even deeper at the stats on this, and his post-shot XG, what that means is the expected goals percentage based on the style of shot, where the shot is from, and the shot placement in the goal. So, if it's a thunderbolt that's going in the top corner, that's really high. If it's a pea shooter that's going straight at you down the middle of the goal, that's really, really low. His post-shot XG is 15 goals, We've conceded 25 in the time that he's been in net in 8 games. Now, if we use the FB ref stats that I've just quoted, and we will be kind and will not count the own goals that have gone in against him, because, you know, you can't really be held to account for that, particularly the unlucky ones that we've had in recent weeks. We'll say that he's actually conceded 23 goals from shots from opposition players. That's an XG underperformance of 8.3 goals. That's 1 goal a game. He concedes 1 goal a game more than the chances that are against him. And that's judging them on the shots as well. This is the shots on target. It's just... wow. Wow. Let's move on. So the defence in front of him, now don't get me wrong, they're not doing exactly any better. It's not like they're pulling up trees and being fantastic, but I am predicting that for this game, we will see a shift away from the formation we played against Burnley, back to a back 5. Now, we've seen this used a lot under Wilder, but particularly in the bigger away games we've played under him so far this season. I'm talking your Villas, I'm talking your Liverpools, etc. So I'm expecting us to try that again, because it did work to a level of success in both of those games. Now, Bogle was good at the weekend, so he's going to keep his spot. I'm predicting that the only 3 fit centre-halves we've got will probably play in this one. So Holgate will return to the team, as I referenced before. I expect Enel to play, and then I also think we'll see Austin Trusty. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 would be my choice at left wing back, mainly because that gives us the opportunity to move Osborne into midfield, and it means that we can move Vini Souza somewhere else that just isn't anywhere near the Sheffield United squad. So, as referenced, my midfield, I would have Osborne coming in there to play alongside Blaster, who is another one of those players who is just coming out of the season with so much credit. He has been really impressive since coming into the team, and we all want to see him continue and want to see him grow as a Sheffield United player. And 𝗏𝗏 is obviously the obvious choice to play alongside them as well, because his creativity, his range of passing really does make a difference in this side. The front two, Brereton Diaz and McBurney, I think it has to be those two. They did miss big chances. Both of them missed a big chance each against Burnley at the weekend when it was 0-0, which maybe could have changed the tide of that game. But the partnership that they've built together has been really impressive, and I do think that they will make a difference if they're playing in games together consistently, as we've seen in recent weeks. As always, this episode of the Sheff United Way is sponsored by Greene King Sport, where football is more than a game. Make Greene King your go-to destination for the season's final stretch. And why should you do that? For one, because you can wash every televised Sheffield United game down with delicious food and refreshing beverages. And with 900 sports clubs dotted around the UK, the chances are that you're already within walking distance of your local Greene King. Now, let's be honest. Watching football is way better with friends and family. So get your squad together for every televised Premier League fixture in an atmosphere that is worth sharing. That includes the huge title showdowns that we've got coming, the race for European qualification, and of course, all of those nail-biting 6-pointers down at the bottom. Now, don't forget to download the Greene King Sport app so that you can enjoy their exclusive competitions and discounts wherever and whenever there's a game on. Now, let's go on to our opponents. This is, of course, Manchester United that we are talking about, and they're not in great form, you know. They have been vulnerable this season. This is not a vintage Manchester United. This is not the Manchester United that I grew up watching and fearing and hating. This is a very different team right now. It's 5 games without a win for them. That's a lot of draws, admittedly, but it's not a good run that they are on. As referenced at the start of this show, they squeaked past Coventry at the weekend on penalties, but after throwing away a 3-goal lead in 20 minutes, they actually came out of that with less credit than they went in, which can't be said about many teams who get into an FA Cup final. Now, what did their team look like? They are struggling with injuries and do have to accept that, but this team, it's not something that you would think should be throwing away goals like that, and clearly there are wider problems. So who did they play? It was Onana in goal, who has really grown into the season. He has got better as it's gone along. They played a back 4 of Dalot, Casemiro, Maguire, and Wan-Bissaka. Their midfield, Kobe Mainu, who, of course, we have all been really impressed with since he came into their side, and I think a lot of us are expecting, maybe hoping, gets into the England team for the Euros in the summer. Next to him, Scott McTominay, and then in front of them, a front 4 that I think would strike fear into most teams of Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, and Højlund at centre-forward. That is going to be their 11, I think. Obviously, Rashford did go down with an injury when he came off in the FA Cup at the weekend, so potentially we'll see a couple of changes, but I'm expecting their 11 to be very similar to the one that we saw at the weekend, and I think they'll think that's strong enough to get the job done, particularly at home. But I'm not that scared. So maybe, just maybe, that gives us a chance. And one of the reasons I'm not scared is the last time that these two met at Old Trafford. United had a unbelievably famous victory the last time that we went there. Now, this was one of the worst teams in Premier League history. One of the worst teams that Sheffield United have ever had. This was one of the worst seasons we've ever watched Sheffield United have. Does all that sound familiar? Because if it does, I'm not actually talking about this season. I'm talking about the obviously COVID-interrupted season where we went to Old Trafford and we won 2-1 with the goals from Kian Bryan and Oliver Burke. If that team could win at Old Trafford, then surely this team has also got a chance. Now, onto our player connections, and I want you to join in on this. So let me know who you remember playing for both the Blades and for Manchester United in our comments. I'm going to throw some names at you that maybe you'll remember, and one of them that maybe you won't. I don't know why these are the three names that immediately jumped into my head, but John Kofi, obviously, he's the obvious one. He's the real standout player of all the Manchester United and Sheffield United connection. The second player is one we've already talked about, currently in the Manchester United squad and likely to play in this game, Harry Maguire. Still love him. Still love you, Harry. Please watch. And the final player is the one that I don't know where he came from. I don't know why he was at the back of my mind, but Michael 𝗏𝗏. Yeah, let's remember Michael 𝗏𝗏, guys. If you've got better connections or other players that you remember playing for both, stick them in the comments and let me know why I was ridiculous to remember Michael 𝗏𝗏. Or if you have any memories of him, why not reminisce? Let's have him in the comments. Let's all remember Michael 𝗏𝗏 as one of our favourites. And finally, we come to our score predictions. Now, it's silly season a little bit. Look, we're relegated and we're playing for pride. What we can salvage of our pride. We're not playing for like total pride, don't get me wrong. I'm not pretending that we'll go back to being fully prideful, but we can have some pride if we can get some results between now and the end of the season. This version of Manchester United is weak. I think they're vulnerable. I've referenced that throughout this show. So you know what? I'm going to be positive. I'm going to go for a draw. Sheffield United are going to draw away at Manchester United 2-2. Our goals are going to come from Oliver McBurnie and Ben Brereton Diaz. That's my prediction. Put yours in the comments. Are you feeling positive? Are you confident? Do you think that we can get at this version of Manchester United? Or do you still think that their aura, what they've got, will be too much for us? Let us know in the comments. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me here today. It's not exactly the glorious time to be a Sheffield United fan, but I do look forward to seeing anybody who's going at the game. Everybody else, I wish you the best week, and let's hope that United can get a result. We've got to get one at some point. We've got to get one at some point. Up the Blades.